choice of a woman, I would say, would certainly be appropriate.
Well, let's speak now to Robert Gutsche. He is a senior lecturer at the Lancaster University in the United Kingdom and also the editor of a book on media and democracy during the Trump presidency. Good to have you on the program with us. So we just heard Trump there saying that he will most likely pick a woman to replace RBG. Any guesses on who that could possibly be, and how important is this Supreme Court nominee going to be?
Well, right now, I mean, for a couple of weeks now, we've had lists of potential nominees from Ted Cruz to who was a former presidential contender to Donald Trump. And yes, a list of women. It's not sure exactly who's on the top of that list, or they haven't leaked that out quite yet. But this is a very important moment for the states. I mean, this is the Supreme Court that makes decisions about gays in the military, about same-sex marriage, about abortion, about who could be the next president, which is what they did in the year 2000 election. So stacking the court in this way with such conservative justices is going to not just serve conservative purposes going forward, but is going to be a rallying cry for the election, and certainly is going to win a lot of support from likely suburban white women in the U.S., assuming that it will be a white woman who he puts forth, which seem to be the majority of the women who are on the nomination lists.
Right. I wanted to ask you about that because Trump has been losing a lot of support among women voters. So you think that if he does pick a woman candidate, that could actually sway more votes in his favor?
Well, I think it'll make it very hard for women, Trump supporters, women on the fence for voting for Trump, to say he's anti-woman. I mean, certainly his legislation, his behavior, his rhetoric, his actions have really brought forth questions about how he values women in the White House and women in society. But this would be, for him, a notch that says, look, I like women, which is actually what he says. I like women more than men, or something to that effect. And it's going to stand as evidence for him that he's about equal treatment. But certainly we're not going to see somebody being proposed who is a radical in any sense for a conservative, or someone who is more liberal leaning. This is going to be a conservative nomination, and that's going to come down to issues of things like abortion and probably questions about gay marriage.
So let's assume that Trump puts out a name in this next week. How quickly can Republicans push through a nominee before the election? And of course, we know that Democrats are going to try to block it. But is there any way for them to block it, given that the Senate, which is controlled by the Republicans, will ultimately confirm the nomination?
Yeah, I mean, if Donald Trump does anything really fascinating, it's getting things done overnight. I mean, certainly we saw the reaction to this, what was called a caravan of people moving across the southern border earlier in his administration. And overnight, literally, we had people and children in cages set up in these former Walmarts and former factory buildings across the country. I mean, that was a massive movement of policy and people. So getting a nominee selected and put onto the court is going to be quite a feat for him, and something that he probably could get through. I mean, the interesting thing here is that Barack Obama tried to do the same thing before he was leaving office, but that was in like a spring of the time that he was leaving, and that was blocked by Republicans. He wasn't able to get that nomination through, which would have been his third Supreme Court nominee or person to be sitting on the court. So for Donald Trump to pull this through, this would be, again, a rallying cry, not just among, and I say very clearly, white women in local suburbs in rural areas of the U.S., but also for the Republican Party to say, look, what more could you ask for? We've done all of these things for the U.S. Bring us back into office.
You brought up that Supreme Court pick of former President Obama in 2016, Merrick Garland, who the Republicans refused to even hold hearings on. What will be the optics of all of this, though? Because back in 2016, 4 years ago, many Republicans said that there should not be a new justice appointed in an election year. But here we are in an election year, and many of those Republicans are coming back around and saying, oh, actually, I changed my mind.
Well, the Republicans are going to take the position of this is the right thing for America. They think they already have a win, despite the arguments among polls. So this is going to be part of a daily job for them. This is something they've been preparing for as Ginsburg was getting sick. So they've already done a lot of the legwork, which also means probably pampering and pruning within the Senate and silencing opposition among the ranks. So this is going to be something about coming together, unity, putting aside any questions within the GOP that there are people who have been led astray to vote against Donald Trump, or people who want to speak against him going forward into their election this year. But so this is going to be a rallying cry. It's going to be something where the Republicans can come together, not just around a candidate for the Supreme Court, but a candidate for the presidency.
All right, we'll leave it there. Robert Gutsche, thank you.